welcome. My name is Christina from Empowered Creator. I am a mindset and conscious manifesting teacher and coach, and this is my YouTube channel. Here I talk about all things law of assumption, mindset, conscious manifesting, the quantum universe, and a lot more. And my goal is to simplify everything without the fluff. So if you guys like this content and you would like to see more of it, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, comment on this video, like it, share it, and stick around. Also, if you need help with your specific situation, I offer one-on-one coaching as well as custom subliminals for whatever needs you may have. I also have some self-study courses about manifesting your specific person. So if you're interested in any of these services, the links are below in the description box. Click on them and they're going to take you to my website. With all that being said, let's dive into today's video. In today's video, we're going to explain the whole concept of time is an illusion. I'm sure you have heard about it many times if you've been in the manifesting community for any amount of time. And I can also see why the concept might be confusing to a lot of you. I can see how you may not understand how it can be that time is an illusion when all you're able to experience in the 3D is the linear time in past, present, and future. So we're going to approach the concept of time from a more spiritual perspective. So this is what I'll be discussing in today's video. Stay tuned. So as I just said in my intro, I know a lot of you get confused by that whole concept that you hear a lot in the manifesting community of time being an illusion, time not mattering, time being a human construct or a social construct. And all of these are true. However, I know from my personal experience and also from other people I talk to and the people I coach that it doesn't necessarily resonate and it doesn't necessarily ring true to people, because at the end of the day, we all do live in this material 3D world, and time in this material 3D world is linear and is experienced in a linear way. Past, present, future. So I get how it can be a very big mental leap for a lot of people to actually start believing that time doesn't matter, time is an illusion, time is just a construct, the concept of time as we know it in the 3D doesn't even exist, and so on. So what do we mean then when we say that time is an illusion? When you hear that in the manifesting community, know that people are referring to what time is and how time is constructed in the 4D, in the fourth dimension, or in the quantum field if you prefer that name. So the way time appears in the 4D, in the fourth dimension, the quantum field, is indeed not in a linear way the way we experience it in the 3D reality. There isn't a past, there isn't a present, and there isn't a future. Instead, everything is lumped into the now moment. All of the past and everything that has ever been, including everything that could have ever been, as well as everything that is and everything that could ever be, all exist simultaneously, in tandem, at the same time, in the same now moment. There isn't a concept of time in the 4D, everything exists in the now. And this is why you hear a lot of teachers, a lot of spiritual teachers, a lot of manifesting teachers telling you that time is an illusion, time is a construct, time doesn't exist. All of that is correct. And all of that refers to what time is and how time appears, or rather how time doesn't appear the same way as it appears in the 3D when it comes to the higher dimensions. And the reason why this is very important to start grasping is not just for you not to get stressed out and anxious about how long your manifestation is going to take or how long it's been since you started manifesting whatever desires you're manifesting. I mean, yes, of course, that is a part of it. But the more important part, if you ask me, is that you start grasping this concept so that you start understanding why it is always within your power to change and shape your experiences differently. And why, as a conscious manifestor, you can even revise the past if you choose to, because the past is not something that is gone and doesn't exist anymore the way we tend to view it in the 3D perspective. But instead, the past still exists in the now moment and will always exist in perpetuity in the now moment, in every new now moment. What that means in practical terms is that you can step into this now moment at any time you choose, pick an experience from your past, pick an incident from your past that for any reason you would like to revise, and you can actually revise it and in such a way jump into a different timeline where that event that you think was so solid and happened in the past happened in a different way, or perhaps didn't even happen at all. This is why revision is possible. This is how revising something that happened in the past, or rather in the perceived past, changes your present and your future and can even help you jump into a different timeline where even the people around you remember that past event differently or don't remember it at all. And this is why you can determine and shape your experiences moment by moment in the way that you want and in the way that you prefer. And to illustrate that a little better, I would like to tell you a story that might sound quite incredible, it might sound quite crazy, but at the same time, I hope that it will help you believe more and understand more this whole concept of time is an illusion, time doesn't exist, time is a construct, because truly, if you look at it from the point of view of higher dimensions, that's what it is. So this story appears in Joe Dispenza's book, Becoming Supernatural, and it's all about how a bunch of people were unknowingly able to revise some incidents of the past without knowing and without realizing. And so that whole experiment, the way it's detailed in the book, is that a bunch of people, by the way, were very religious in the traditional sense of the word. They believed in God and they prayed and they believed that their prayers could be an intercession for things to change in the 3D. So these people were given a list of patients to pray about, and this was a real list of patients from a hospital. And the patients were divided into two groups. There was one group that was assigned to the people who prayed for them, and there was also another group where nobody prayed for them. After a few weeks, they took the two groups and compared their blood results, and I believe they also looked at their discharge records, and in short, the people who had been assigned to the praying group had much better outcomes. Their blood work was better, they had fewer complications, they were discharged earlier from the hospital, and so on, whereas the group for whom no one prayed didn't really have much change in their outcomes, and they tended to have worse outcomes than the other group. So far so good, and we can say that the intercessions of the people who prayed help the patients get better and have better outcomes. However, there is a kicker to this story. What the people who prayed for the other people, for the patients, were not told was that the list of patients they were given, although it was a real list of patients, real list of real patients, real names, who were indeed the patients of that hospital, these patients, it turned out, had been patients of that hospital in the distant past. And I don't remember exactly what the book said. I want to say that maybe they were patients a decade prior, but in any event, they were not current patients, they were past patients. And what happened was that the patients for whom prayers were given still had better results, better outcomes, faster discharge dates, and so on, compared to the group that didn't have any prayers going towards them, even though the prayers happened about a decade later than when they had the actual outcome, meaning that people into the future went and prayed about people from the past without knowing that they were praying about people from the past, and they were still able to change their outcomes. They were still able to influence their medical outcomes from a decade prior. So if that doesn't prove to you the power of revision, if that doesn't prove to you that time is indeed an illusion and a construct in the 3D, and that in higher dimensions it doesn't even matter because it doesn't even exist the way that we know it in the 3D, because everything is lumped into the now moment, I don't know what else is going to convince you. I know that this story sounds a little crazy, but for me it's an amazing illustration of this whole concept of time is an illusion, and why revision is possible, and why revision actually works. Because when you do revision, you're not going into the 3D. You're going into the 4D. You're going into higher dimensions. You're tapping into the higher dimensions, and you're revising a past situation in the now moment. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this helps clarify the concept a little bit, and that you can start seeing time and viewing time from a different perspective and in a different light. So this is exactly what we mean when we say time is an illusion, time doesn't exist, time is a construct. So now you have a better idea of what it is, and you can hopefully start putting less importance on time and realizing that it doesn't even have to be a factor in your manifesting. With all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I intend that this has helped. As always, I very much appreciate you guys being on this channel, watching this content. I love making this content for you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all at the next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.